And we have a cat cameo immediately. Amazing.
Oh, hi.
Hey, that's a good way to start. Welcome back to Kuroda Mob News. How's it going, guys?
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Kuroda, Bacon Mob, Leia, all of us are here. It's been a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, what, the entire month of March?
Yeah, it's been a few weeks. We both tried to record, but it's hasn't. I know we're both pretty busy people, so it just hasn't happened. But I did say a while ago that this is sort of weekly, So if there's a couple weeks where we don't record, it's okay. Um, and because it's been a little bit, I think what we're gonna do is a kind of March roundup sort of thing. And there was so much stuff that happened in terms of gaming news. I have a whole list of things here, and like I was saying to you off camera, it would take us. We could probably talk for like hours about all the things that happened. So I say we just go over some of the main points. Like I'll just briefly just list everything, and then we could just get into what we want to talk about because that's ultimately what this series is about anyway. Is just us talking about you know all the stuff that we're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sounds
yeah,
good to me.
cool. All right, so there was a couple of bigger events that happened over the last couple weeks. Um, the first thing that, and chronologically, I believe was BlizzCon, which happened what?
Yeah.
That was like what,
That
early
was right
March?
before, yeah, it was right before the Nintendo Direct. It
Mm-hmm.
was right before we recorded um, we did a reaction to the Nintendo Direct specifically, right?
Yeah, I think it was actually shortly after the Nintendo Direct.
Possibly. Yes, yes, you're right, actually. It was right before we recorded the remasters video, sorry.
Yep.
That's what I meant.
Which, speaking of that, it was like for that. Well, we'll talk. There's only one thing I was really interested in from that, which we'll talk about, which also has to do with remakes. But we'll get back to that. Then there was also the Pokemon Direct, which
Right.
was like what, the week after the Nintendo Direct, and we had a couple of really exciting announcements there. I definitely like to talk about that, as well as a Smash character reveal, which nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I honestly I've forgotten who it even was. Oh yes,
It was
yeah, that's who it was.
Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade, and then
See,
there.
this shows how long it was. Sorry, I was gonna this shows how long ago it was. I thought we already covered the Pokemon Direct
No, we
last
didn't
week.
cover that. We were going to, but we didn't cover that. There was a state of play, and there was more recently a Square Enix Presents. Is that what it's called?
That's I guess what they call it. Yes. And
Yeah.
then there was yeah there was a mini state of play as well.
And then there was a couple of other, like, pretty big, like, releases in terms of, like, pretty big news in terms of, like, bigger releases that are coming out. And there were some other, like, snippets that we wanted to talk about, too. But if we want to go, maybe what I'll do is I'll go chronologically with those four things, and we'll talk about. So BlizzCon, this one's easy. The two things that stuck out to me were Diablo 4 and the Diablo 2 remake, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially
Yes.
talking about, we're gonna definitely be talking about remakes today, so I thought that'd be a good place to start. And I know you're a huge fan, so
Running meme. I'm
yeah,
a huge fan of Diablo 2. Yes.
yeah.
I barely played Diablo 3. Diablo 4 sounds cool. I'm sure I'll play it at some point. Um, but I'm definitely more interested in the Diablo 2 remake, especially since it's coming to consoles,
hmm
and I think it might have crossplay. I might be wrong about that.
I'm pretty sure it has crossplay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it has cross save as well, which is fantastic. I guess you can also import your saves from the original Diablo 2 if you want,
Wow.
which is pretty great. Like especially compared to how they handled the Warcraft 3 remake. Um, this sounds like they're doing a much better job. Like because they did a remaster of the original StarCraft already, and they did a really great job with that. and this sounds like it's more on par with that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also kind of going further because they're completely redoing it in 3E, which, I mean, the original game was just pre-rendered sprites, but it looks like it really kind of holds true to the original art style still.
It looks really good. I've never played them. I hear nothing but good things about Diablo 2 more than any other game, so that'll be fun to play when that comes out for Switch. I'll probably pick that up.
Totally. And yeah, they announced the usual stuff too, with World of Warcraft and Hearthstone, and some snippets about Overwatch. I'm kind of still interested in Hearthstone, honestly. This new expansion has me a little interested.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess. I think it just came out, actually. Or it might be coming out soon. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Our video was prophetic because there's several remakes that were announced. We're gonna be talking a lot about them in the next couple of things here. Is there anything else you wanted to say about BlizzCon or no?
No.
No? Well, the next thing that came out was the Pokemon Direct, which there's 2 remakes. Well, actually, excuse me. There's one remake. Well, actually, yeah, technically there's 2 remakes, but it's the same game. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And I was thinking new Pokemon Snap. That's not a remake. It's a sequel, but it's sort of a remake in a sense. But
Weird title. I don't know why they don't just call it Pokemon Snap 2.
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get it. They always have to come up with some weird naming scheme.
New Pokemon Snap, yeah.
I don't get it.
What'd you think? I'll be honest with you, I was actually more hyped about the Pokemon Direct than I was the Nintendo Direct overall.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really take them. I kind of just took that entire week as like one big
Yeah.
thing. Like it almost felt like E3 almost, because there was like
Yeah.
there wasn't anything from Microsoft really, but there was a lot of gaming news, just all within like a week and a half for some reason from different companies.
Mhm.
But I mean, I kind of felt like the Pokemon Direct was just like a continuation of the Nintendo Direct.
That makes sense, yeah, because they always do something separate.
But yeah, I mean, I was super impressed by it. I wasn't like super psyched about the Diamond and Pearl remakes, although I do like the art style. I think it's a great kind of like homage to the DS visuals.
Mhm.
And obviously the new Pokemon Legends looks fantastic. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think they would actually attempt this so quickly and actually like respond to fan criticism so quickly either. I'm really surprised they were showing, like it was really, I hope it was really early footage because there was some pretty bad frame rates going on in that trailer.
Mhm.
Like it was strange to even see them showing off the game in that state, frankly.
Well, it's not coming out until this time next year, maybe a little early. I think January, February, something like that. So they still have a lot of time.
Yeah, we'll see. I could see them delaying it too.
I haven't played Sword or Shield, but it looks like they pretty much expanded on the DLC that they released for Sword and Shield, which had that more open world format. So, yeah, Pokemon Legends Arceus look cool.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, Pokemon Snap looks fantastic to me too. Like, I think it had the best graphics of any Pokemon game that's come out
Yeah,
so far.
I kind of said that. I was I think I said something like that on Discord. It was like, when the new Pokemon Snap has better graphics than the mainline games.
Yeah, it's strange. It has voice acting too.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Pokemon Snap. It was
Same.
one of my favorite Pokemon games on the N64. It was kind of the first time they ever made a Pokemon game where it felt like you were seeing them in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
So I'd really be interested to see, where they take that.
I'm probably more excited about that game than anything else Pokemon in a while. I am excited about the Diamond and Pearl remakes because Gen 4 was one that I really didn't play. But I think there's been some criticism with the graphic style, which it is what it is. I kind of like it. I think they kept sort of true to the original, which is pretty cool. And I think actually they have a different developer doing that, but the original series creator is like he's spearheading the project, but it's a completely different team than Game Freak. So
I think with a graphical style like that, it's hard to justify charging full price for it.
mm-hmm.
But it's just a remake of a DS game too. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I mean, we figured out from Nintendo that's I mean, at least it's a new game. Like yeah, it's a remake, but at least they actually remade the game and they didn't just re-release a 20-year-old game and charge full price for it.
Oh man. Yeah, true. But I still Diamond Pearl or yeah, those were the games where I kind of lost interest in the series. Like I bought them. I don't know if I bought them right when they came out. I think I waited a few months. But that was really the first time I didn't even make it to the end of a Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never really got back into the series again after those games as much as I was with the first 3 gens. So I don't know if I would be that into a remake unless it... Apparently Platinum fixed a lot of the issues that Diamond and Pearl had, so hopefully these remakes incorporate some of the changes they made in Platinum. Like apparently there was like no fire Pokemon in the original Diamond and Pearl. That was one complaint I saw quite a bit.
I would hope so. I mean, God. I mean, you would assume. So.
Well, you think about Alpha Sapphire and
Omega Ruby.
Omega Ruby. Did that incorporate stuff from Emerald? Do you know?
Well, yeah, because I mean, the only like blaringly obvious one that I can think of is that you can get Rayquaza in it.
Well, Rayquaza was actually in the original.
Oh, he was. He was okay. See, I never played I didn't play Ruby or no, that's not true. I played Ruby. I think it was Ruby when it first came out, but the first one that I played through was Emerald, so I'm really not sure to be honest.
I think it had like a battle tower or something in it. That wasn't
yeah. I didn't know that you could get Rayquaza. I guess it makes sense you'd be able to get Rayquaza in all 3, but I could, to be honest, I'm not sure. So Pokemon fans, correct me in the comments below.
Yeah, but anyway, I guess there's precedent there.
Either way, I thought it looked overall exciting. You know, like it was all. I was excited about all three games, which is quite something for me for Pokemon these days. You know, I'm kind of hit or miss with Pokemon.
Yeah, it was the same for me. Like usually, I'm like sitting through half of a Pokemon Direct, just being like, okay, this doesn't really interest me at all.
Yeah,
it's like some cell phone puzzle game or something.
Yeah. Or Pokemon Smile, come on. Alright, we'll move on. So there was also a State of Play that was announced, which I have to admit I didn't watch the whole thing. Crash 4 looks really good, I'll say that. That's been released since, too.
Yeah, I mean, that was literally just the PS5 version of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then there was like there was that new game Sifu, which is like I can't remember what the first game was called. I think it was might have been Ascendant or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like apparently got a very unique kind of like martial arts combat system. Like it's like way more in depth with like melee fighting than most games do. So that could be cool.
That looked cool. I actually did see that. I kind of skimmed through the State of Play. What else? I mean, going again to the remake thing, we got a little bit of Final Fantasy VII news.
Yeah, there was the whole Yuffie chapter.
Yeah. Which it seems like they're gonna squeeze as much out of that remake as possible.
I was watching people's like live reactions to the State of Play, and they had the trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS5, but the actual text during the trailer is just like graphics on PlayStation 5. And the people reacting to it were like, finally, graphics on PlayStation 5. But
uh,
it didn't really look that different to me. Like I'm actually playing through Final Fantasy VII right now on a PS4 Slim, and like it doesn't look bad to me. Like I don't know, but
mhm.
people like there's definitely a couple of textures that I'm seeing that I'm like, wow, that looks like it's from two generations ago, but it's not like super common. It's usually like a small sign in a shop or something.
Mhm.
But, like so like I'm not I don't know. I don't see like buying PS5 just to play through that game again with slightly better lighting.
Yeah, nah, nah. The thing that I was excited about, which, damn it, I wish wasn't, the only problem I have is that it's the mobile game. You know where I'm going with this. It's Final Fantasy
Oh
VII Ever Crisis.
yeah, that's what I forgot what that was called, but like I would totally play that if it was like not episodic and on a console, but it's
Everybody,
not.
everybody, I saw a ton of comments on the video, and everybody was like, "Put it on Switch, put it on Switch." You know, it's like perfect for Switch. So
Um,
it'd be cool to see that come on a console because it looks like way more of a faithful remake of that game. Not just that game, but what Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and there's an Advent Children Part 2. Which so did they make a game out of the movie?
that's I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I knew they were doing Crisis Core. There was also a cell phone game called Before Crisis.
Yep.
It was more about like Shinra, I think.
Yep.
They're like basically bringing all those stories together into one game on modern
Yep.
mobile platforms, which
Yeah,
is
it's
like
literally
a
fine.
pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it is. It's literally all the things we mentioned. It's Final Fantasy VII, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and Advent Children. I don't know. That was my question. Was Advent Children? It's like that was a movie. I don't know how they've made a game out of it, but I'd be willing to try it. You know.
It would certainly work as a game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were switching characters, because I mean, like Cloud and Vincent are basically the main characters. Did you ever watch that movie?
Yep. I've seen it a few times.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I mean, you know how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just a series of one-on-one battles the entire movie.
I'd love to see that on a console. That would be amazing. I wouldn't even bother with the remake. With Final Fantasy VII Remake, I just play that. It looked pretty good too. Like it looks they didn't do too bad of a job for a mobile game.
Well, I mean, today's mobile games, like, I mean, they basically look just as good as Switch
Mm-hmm.
games.
Yeah, true. Did you want to talk about, since we're still kind of on the subject of the PlayStation or the state of play? Did you want to talk about the very recent news?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there was also a couple other games they announced. But they
Mm-hmm.
didn't announce. They announced Solar Ash, which is by the maker of Hyper Light Drifter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super into that. They've already announced this, but it's Kenna Bridge Spirits. I think it's actually coming out really soon. That game looks honestly like the kind of game they would have made for like the PS2. It's got serious like Beyond Good and Evil vibes for me or something. But except that it looks like a Pixar movie. Like the graphics look fantastic to me. Um, it's just like not going for a realistic look at all. It's going for a very like animated movie look that I really dig. So I think that's actually coming out on PS4 as well. So I'm gonna be looking into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you wanted to talk about the whole thing with the previous PlayStation platforms.
Yeah, go for it. You said you really want to talk
Yeah,
about it.
it is. I mean, it is a rumor right now still, but yeah, there is a rumor. I don't even own any of these platforms, but still kind of makes me a little irked. Sony would think about doing this so soon. Apparently, they're thinking of shutting down the PS3, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita stores. I don't know whether that would mean that you can't download anything that you already own. Um, but I mean, this would mean that a lot of games are basically becoming inaccessible now to everyone, which
Yeah, and we were talking off camera that happened to a lot of Wii games, you know. Um,
Yeah, WiiWare was something that this happened to not too long ago. Um, DSiWare was another one. Uh, you can still get DSiWare on the 3DS, but then they like, I guess there was like a couple of DSiWare games that were supposed to be yanked for licensing reasons, and they accidentally yanked the entire store
oh,
by
jeez.
just by like pressing the wrong button, and all these sites reported on it and were like, oh, okay, I guess DSiWare is gone.
Wow.
And like, it ended up being a mistake, and Nintendo put them back up. But it's just like, it's amazing how quickly all these games can just disappear,
I know.
and the general public just can't access them anymore. I mean, it makes you glad that there are, at least makes me glad that there's foundations out there that try to keep this stuff intact. I don't remember where I saw it, but there was some story about like this preservation, like this game preservation group releasing like 700 demos and like unreleased games that like never would have seen the light of the day, basically.
That's awesome. I really like the whole game preservation community. It's a lot of these companies unfortunately aren't going to do it, so it's nice that there's people out there actually, you know, trying to save these games, because otherwise, yeah, there'd be no way to access them.
I don't know. I just think it's weird that like so many companies seem to actively work against, um, not even just released games, but unreleased games.
I could see shutting down, like I could understand not maintaining something like the PS3 you're talking now, two generations ago, and the PSP, but if they do that, make those games that would be lost immediately accessible, and if you still have an account, you should be able to just redeem those same games on that new platform without having to rebuy them, you know. Like if you own a game, if you've owned a game for 10 years or something, you shouldn't have to rebuy it just because they shut down the servers, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, the logic would be if you're not going to sell it anymore, then release the source code for it and like
Yeah, yeah.
allow people to release it on PC in their own way. Like, obviously, if they want to charge money for it, then you can go after them at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm a big proponent of like open source, so like I think I think like actually this one guy I watch on YouTube brought up a really great point. If they're not going to support these older consoles, then there are actually companies who are willing to make hardware that plays PS1, PS2, PS3 discs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why not work with those companies to officially license those machines?
Yeah.
If Sony's not going to make them themselves. Like, and they could do the same thing with the digital games. Like, if some other game preservation society wants to host these games on a server, why would Sony not be willing to work with them? Like, why just erase them from history?
Yeah.
And I mean, Nintendo does the same thing. And that you can make the argument that they have the right to like continue releasing them and making money from them for like eternity, but like I don't know. Like I don't think that just applies to video games. I think the whole idea that like the copyright should last for so long before something becomes public domain
Yeah.
doesn't just apply to video games.
Yeah, that
Not being public domain after all these years.
yeah, I would agree with that. At least make it, like you said, there's plenty of ways they could work with, you know, either themselves or with other companies to keep these games alive and still let people play them, because I have a kitty bothering me. Sorry. Yeah, but no, I totally agree with you, man. Like it's I mean, Nintendo's always the worst with that. They'll go after, and you know, little websites and stuff with litigation and the whole bit, you know, which is even worse.
Yeah, not even just websites, like even stuff like fan games or fan remakes. It's not just Nintendo that'll do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think about something like Chrono Resurrection or any manner of other fan games that got shut down by like the cease and desist orders.
You reminded me not to again go off topic, but it kind of goes into it. I enjoyed that Chrono Trigger concept art that kind of popped up that you posted in the Discord too. That's a little tiny piece of news that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I've actually thought of that before when I was thinking about stuff that's
Yeah.
unreleased being leaked. But I mean, like, I think we'd already talked about it, but the whole thing with like Dinosaur Planet being leaked.
Yeah.
Another game that got leaked. Oh, the GoldenEye.
We talked about GoldenEye, but we never talked about Dinosaur Planet, which I thought was also really amazing. Like another like hidden rare gem, you know?
Yeah, it makes me wonder that if there was like some former developer from Rare who like signed a non-disclosure agreement and was just sitting on all this stuff, and
Yeah.
as soon as that time was up, he just like put it all out there.
Yeah. Seems like it.
But I was watching somebody play Dinosaur Planet, and it's like not completely intact, but it's pretty amazing how like the whole game is there with N64 graphics, and it's like not even that different from Star Fox Adventures.
Oh yeah, I'm sure modders can and will and maybe even have already, tweak the game so it's more complete, which
I think, and like they had already put like Fox in the game, like with the N64 model as well. Like it doesn't even have Saber in it, which it kind of sucks, honestly. I think because I always loved the idea of that original character Saber being the playable character.
Mhm.
I actually had a stuffed animal named Saber as a kid, so I was like, yes, they're making a video game starring my stuffed animal. And then my dream never happened.
That's funny. Um, okay, what else was I gonna say here? The last big event that was recent was the Square Enix Presents, which I was just right before. I really hadn't watched it, so I was right before we started. I was skimming through it a little bit, and looks like they had like Tomb Raider, and they had a Taito collection or a couple games. Like I said, see they're doing a new Bubble Bobble, which is pretty random.
I know, right? It actually looks kind of fun, though. I mean, the original
Yeah.
Bubble Bobble was apparently a fun little co-op game. I don't know exactly when they announced this, but they also announced the Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale,
Oh yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
which like takes place before Final Fantasy VII, where they're like training a bunch of soldiers, and I think it's only on mobile. So that's a thing that exists.
You know, Final Fantasy VII, and we talked about this extensively because you and I are humongous fans of that game. It's starting to go the way of Star Wars with me, where it was like when I was younger, I was like, man, I just want more Star Wars movies. These are awesome. And as an adult, I watched the original trilogy and I go, why did they make more of these?
Yeah.
So now with Final Fantasy VII, I was playing it on the channel and stuff. I got to finish it. And when I play it, it's like, why are they making more of this? Like, it's good the way it is.
I even kind of felt like that back in the Advent Children days.
Yeah,
Like,
Crisis Core
there
was
was
good.
so many. Like, yeah, there were definitely good games in there, but then they also made like Dirge of Cerberus,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, why do they even like? Do they really need to make this
Yeah.
game? Like, seems like they're milking this a little bit.
Yeah, and they're definitely milking Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ugh. I kind of don't like
all
it.
the characters showing up in Kingdom Hearts and everything too.
Yep. I don't know.
But yeah,
Maybe
anyways,
we're just old dudes. I don't know.
yeah, I suppose so. They talked about Outriders to begin with at their
Mhm.
presentation, but I don't really know that much about this game. Apparently, it's just like a class-based shooter. I think it's done by Gearbox. You guys made Borderlands. I don't know. There seems to be a lot of stuff around that, but I'm not personally invested in that game at all.
Mhm.
You mentioned Tomb Raider. They're doing like a trilogy, which honestly I might take a look at because I've never played any of those games. They all have very forgettable titles, so they kind of blend together for me.
I played the original Tomb Raider way back in the day. Not a ton. a ton, but a little bit, and it was fun. But I haven't played it in many years, probably since then. So.
Oh yeah. No, this is like the brand new gritty ones that Crystal Dynamics made. And they also announced a Just Cause mobile game. I'm actually really a big fan of Just Cause, so I want to take a look at that.
Cool. Haven't played it.
The other things they showed, like there was a dragon game called Forspoken that looked kind of interesting.
There was that new game, starts with an A.
Avengers?
No, it wasn't Avengers. It was, I don't know it. Sorry. It's like a brand new game that they're coming out with. I just watched it. It looked pretty cool.
I don't remember. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember the name either. Sorry.
I have a list here, but I didn't put every game on it, I don't think. Yeah.
This is their first presentation that they've done themselves, right?
I think so. I think they did some sort of like E3 video thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was narrated. I remember it was narrated by Keith David. But like they had press conferences before, but this was the first time that it was like more of like a Nintendo Direct style thing.
That's what I meant. Yeah, like I think they're gonna start doing them fairly regularly, right?
Yes. I mean, honestly, it seems like the whole Nintendo Direct approach has really caught on. They were kind of pioneers. I mean, everyone has to do it now, obviously.
Yeah.
It's funny they were doing it before it was cool.
That's one thing that Nintendo does is innovate, I guess. You know. I love that like 40% of our show is me just complaining about Nintendo these days.
That's a clue.
Dude.
I wish every one of these direct presentations would have started with the CEO going like this, though.
Yeah, I agree. Dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. That is the most exciting thing that I have seen, like, I think of all these releases in the last, like, month or so.
I think it's the most exciting game announcement in years.
Oh, yeah.
Frankly, like, I can't think of anything that's made me more excited in quite a while.
Oh my god, when I saw that, when you dropped that video in Discord, I lost it. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I can't, like, I was freaking out. I sent it to my brother-in-law. He's a big fan too. I ran through that game and Hyperstone Heist with him. And of course, you and I have done, for a while there was like, every time I saw you in person, we would just play Turtles in Time and just beat it, you know, and now it's like, oh my god, there's a sequel, like, yes, you know.
I think it was because one time we played through it, like, and recorded it for your channel, and then another time we played through it on an actual arcade machine.
Yes, yeah.
Which was pretty awesome.
But we played through it on the Super NES twice.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. We played through it one time. It was like, we got together and we played it, and then that was when we went up to Canada and we played it at Rachel's dad's house, and then we came up to visit you and I brought my Super Nintendo and we played through it again.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that we went to a bar arcade near where you are and we played it again on the arcade, and it was like, yes. So now we gotta play Shredder's Revenge.
Game on the arcade machine, I believe.
They don't have a release date for it though, right?
I don't think so. I think maybe this year. I'm not sure, but I mean, yeah, like that game, Turtles in Time, was like one of the first 3 or 4 games I ever owned in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of the games that like formed my taste in games. So like, I'm pretty hyped for that.
Best beat 'em up ever. Best beat 'em up ever, and
it's still like it's weird. It's like the first beat 'em up I ever played, but I've still never played anything that I think really comes close to it.
and it's made from by the Scott Pilgrim guys, right? The developer that did that.
There are people who made that game who work in this studio. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Okay.
the same developers.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a few of the same people.
It looks.
They're like people who play key role.
It looks great too. I mean, At first, the trailer was just looked like a reanimated version of the whole TMNT theme, which I just loved. And then when it actually showed that, hey, it's these really nice looking sprites, and like it just looks like a upgraded version of the original game. I was like, this is gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
It looks like it's basically like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 5. Like,
Yeah.
there have been only 4, like, quote unquote arcade Ninja Turtles games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure maybe 1 or 2 of them have come out in arcades since. I think there was actually one that was like a huge arcade machine at one point that came out.
I'd love to see them release this on an arcade cabinet. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. I'm sure if conventions were still a thing and they were like promoting it, I'm sure they would have arcade cabinets there for it. Like,
That
why
would,
would you do that?
that would be awesome. We had to talk about that. That's maybe a little tiny bit like under the radar for some people, but I was so excited for that game. I'm still like pumped for it. I think it did they say if it's coming out on all the consoles and Steam and everything?
I think yeah, I think it just said all platforms in the
Nice.
trailer. I'd have to watch it again though.
That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
They're moving on from that. The other thing, at least this is the last thing I have. Um, there's 2 pieces of news about Microsoft. Number one, they purchased Bethesda, and it sounds like they're trying to purchase Discord. They're like in the midst of that right now. What they say, $10 billion or something? They want to buy Discord for?
Yeah, I mean that was like that was just like a rumor that I
Yeah.
found in an article. Like apparently they are shopping around. Like Discord is looking at different buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft was one of them, and that was apparently what they offered. um, but there's nothing final yet at all. But yeah, the whole thing with Bethesda was actually like approved by the EU and finalized and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft released like a press release about it. They added a bunch of Bethesda games, Game Pass. Um, they like made an official statement about like exclusivity going forward. So it's like a done deal now, basically.
Wow.
So I mean, it's entirely possible that the Elder Scrolls and Fallout will be exclusive to Xbox going forward.
Wow.
Maybe even Doom. Like Doom might be exclusive to Xbox. Like that Doom and Quake. That's so weird to think.
Yeah, that is really weird actually.
Yeah.
And that is crazy thing. I'm sure some of that will still be on Switch.
Yeah, like I'm sure it won't. Like those are just possible, situations. It's not like that's actually going to definitely happen, especially
Mm-hmm.
since Microsoft has been pretty good about releasing stuff on PC and Switch
Mm-hmm.
lately. And they've also said that they're taking a bit more of a hands-off approach for the next few releases because they've already announced them for other consoles. So like that's not gonna affect those games.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, Microsoft has an insane number of development studios under their belt now.
I know it's pretty crazy. It makes me wonder how they're gonna do this generation. I don't know. People seem to really be buying up those PS5s.
Yeah, I mean, I that's the thing. Is like that's really. I'm sure they're selling more PS5s, but I'm really curious if the Xbox is at least doing better like this generation. You would assume that it is, but
Mm-hmm.
hard to say. I mean, like I'm certainly more interested in getting an Xbox if I was gonna buy a like current generation.
If I were gonna buy a current generation, I would also go for an Xbox. I think.
But I'm the big person who kind of switches each generation because I like to play the exclusives,
Mm-hmm.
and like it kind of makes more sense for me to get an Xbox Series S or whatever, because then I would be able to catch up on all the Xbox One games that I could never play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I have access to Game Pass. I have a PS4, and Sony is still releasing games on the PS4. not even about that many exclusive PS5 games. So it kind of just makes sense to me as somebody who likes to play games on every system.
Yeah, I would agree that that makes actually a lot of sense. And the way, by how Microsoft is buying up studios, it seems like they're going to have tons and tons of exclusive, like, good content. So it just seems to make more sense to me, too.
It seems like Game Pass is like kind of an irresistible deal. It's becoming more and more irresistible.
Yeah.
Like I feel kind of dumb for not having it at this point. But I don't have Windows 10, so I can't use it on my computer. So, and I don't have an Xbox, so I just need something that can actually use it.
I think that might be all the news. I think.
I believe that was.
There were some rumors about the Switch Pro, but to be honest, there always is.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing I sent you. Yeah, I mean, apparently they're buying OLED screens. Apparently, it's going to be a better screen, but it's the same size. Take it with a grain of salt because we've heard this many times.
We've been hearing this for what, 4 years now that there's going to be a Switch Pro.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I see it. It's possible, but it's always possible. So.
In a sense, it makes sense in the sense that the Switch is probably what some people have said halfway through its life cycle. I don't know. But it makes sense that since Nintendo kind of jumped in midway through the last generation, that they just kind of upgrade what they have, I don't know. And they say they're always working on new hardware, so go ahead, sorry.
I just feel like it's selling so well. Like it's just, and they never had to make a more powerful Wii. So it's just, I don't know. Like it's possible, but then and they never really, I don't think they ever had that much success with the new 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did have a lot of success with the DSi, but that wasn't a huge upgrade in terms of power, so it's hard to really compare it to any of those things. And the only thing I could see is like if they were running into roadblocks in development, like if they're actually making games that demand more power. But usually Nintendo doesn't make games that demand more power. Like they're pretty good at like using older technology and less powerful technology to their benefit, and, like using it efficiently. That's kind of their thing. So like, I don't know. I just take it with a grain of salt nowadays.
The only reason I could see them doing it is because of, like I said, maybe not wanting to completely reinvent the wheel, right away, given that the next console generation has essentially just started and the Switch is already 4 years old. I mean, there's people say, well, it'll be able to run bigger AAA games, like third-party games and stuff, but Nintendo never really cares about that, it seems. They seem... Go ahead, sorry.
They've gotten enough ports at this point. They have quite a bit of credibility.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they need to have every single third-party game. Plus, I think streaming might take off more than people think in the next 3 to 4 years. Like maybe by the end of the Switch's lifespan, it won't matter how powerful it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because the Switch is kind of the perfect system for that. Oh, you're back. I thought I lost you for a second.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah. And they really don't... They don't need to really... They don't have the same issues that the other two really have, in that their IPs are pretty strong. They're first-party IPs, so they don't need to be really that beholden to third parties, because they release a new Mario game or new Zelda, they're gonna make money, it's gonna do well, so long as you have something like the Switch. I mean, it obviously didn't work with the Wii U, but...
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the Wii, like, concessions to bring popular games to that system. Like they literally made Modern Warfare on the
Yeah.
game. They like made it work.
Yeah.
And I mean, they made Doom Eternal work on the Switch.
Yep.
And I've got Apex Legends running on it now. Like it's kind of crazy. I'm pretty amazed, frankly. That's because that game has, I believe, 90 people in one game.
Yeah.
And a huge map or something like that. Crazy.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I think that's it. I don't know if do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, we covered a ton of stuff. I mean, we did miss a lot. There's probably a lot more we could have gone into in a bit more depth, but it's been a few weeks, so we kind of needed to play a little bit of catch up. So hopefully when we
covered the big stuff.
Sorry,
I just said I think we covered the big stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that that I've been wanting to cover that we just haven't gotten to. So hopefully in the next week or two we'll be able to do another episode of this and cover some more stuff. You know, and we'll probably do within the next 2 or 3 episodes another discussion video that's not the news, but some other fun topic. I always like doing those.
Yeah, I'd love to do another just like discussion, just free flow thing.
Yeah, I really loved the 5 remakes we would do. That was a really fun one. So we'll have to brainstorm and come up with some other cool ideas.
Yeah, I really liked your Twitch video too. That's great.
Oh, thanks. Don't know what he's talking about? You should subscribe, and you should like this video, and you should check out my top 10 Nintendo Switch games video. It's a little offbeat. I don't, there's a couple of games in there that you're gonna be like, wait, why is that above that? But it's my list, damn it. So.
That's what I liked, is that you like really injected your personality into it.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, that's all she wrote, folks. James, thank you once again for joining me. As always, we'll be back maybe in 2 weeks, because next week is Godzilla week on the channel. Go see that movie. And yeah, and we will be back again with the news. I'm gonna let you take us out again.
See you next time, folks.
Bye, guys. Peace. That was good. That was fun. It was great.